How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another episode of No Excuses on VTWProductions.com and YouTube.com with your favorite show hosts are still
Fenurian.
And Volacel, and we're here to bring you the latest news and commentary on the video games industry for the week, such as it has been, although it has been another one of those weeks where there's not really much to talk about except boobies, which we're going to try and avoid doing this time. But first of all, if you would like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in our Discord server, which you can most easily access by going to vtwproductions.com and clicking on the show logo on any of our recent show posts. And you can talk with us in real time in any of our channels and look at the terrible meme images that I post and so forth.
All the memes.
I have dug lower than bedrock to try and get us out of booby territory this week, folks. There's literally nothing that happened this week.
It's just boobs.
It's all stuff we either covered last week or stuff we don't care about.
Yeah.
Or boobs.
Or boobs. Alright, on the stream today I will be playing a little bit of Neverwinter Nights 2. It's an old game, but this is one of those old games that I go back to at least once a year. I just get the itch to do something D&D related.
I never get past the big bandit camp, though. Like, I do the bandit camp, and yep, I think I'm spent. And then the next time I just start over again.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I kind of went on a kick earlier this week of just randomly thinking up stupid ideas for character designs. And figured, I know, I'm going to turn up Neverwinter Nights 2 and just try a few of them out. So you've got...
I forget what's useful in that game. If I went back, I wouldn't know what to put any points in. Because I'd be like,
it depends
what's in this game again?
Yeah, it depends on what your story you're playing. Like,
yeah.
Survival is pretty much useless in the main campaign, but Storm as a hero, you need it pretty much on every character. I'm going to go Tiefling, I think.
Yeah, I did finish it one time, the main campaign. I never got around to playing the expansions. I finished the main campaign one time, which, if I recall, ends with Rock's Fall, everyone dies.
Yeah.
But the one time that I made it through, by chance, because I didn't set out necessarily with a higher expectation than usual, but I made it through as a warlock. Never play a warlock, just don't. They're bad. They're bad.
Yeah.
They're bad to play. They're bad mechanically. It was like being flogged raw with my own brainstem the entire time. The only thing you can do is spam ineffective attacks forever.
Yeah.
Like, that's your advantage. You aren't going to run out of spells like your typical Vancian mage. No, you're going to spam forever and do almost no damage, but just do it over and over and over and again.
Yeah. So if I recall correctly, Neverwinter Nights 2 runs off D&D 4.0.
No,
3.5. It's a heavily modified 3.5.
Okay, so they didn't quite make it up there. Because you've got things like bards being actually useful somewhat. They're not. Never play a bard on the tabletop. I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Or Neverwinter Nights 1, which is based on a heavily modified 3.0.
Yeah.
Yeah, it uses a homebrew variant of the version 3 point something for both of them, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So
No, they're based on different versions. I think the raw material for 2 was based on 3.5, and the raw material for 1 was based on 3.0.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 3.5 exists because 3.0 is bad in its base state, so...
Yeah. So what silly nonsense have I got? I'm actually playing through the Sword of Zahir content in the single player, not on the stream at the moment. So my party consists of a swashbuckler who uses no weapons. He's an unarmed fighter, which essentially just makes him the world's greatest dodge tank. Unfortunately, though, doing swashbuckler or fighter instead of monk for unarmed combat, you lose the all-important magical fists feat.
And
the ability to hit anything, you mean?
Yes.
You also don't get any bonuses from weapon finesse at all, which should be at least cheaper for you to take if you're swashbuckling.
In this version,
and you only get your dex bonus to AC. You don't get dex and whiz.
Yes. The other bit is swashbuckler is supposed to prestige class into, where is it? There it is, duelist. That one. Except duelist is entirely reliant on piercing style weapons, so rapiers and things like that. Fists
light
are not
piercing weapons at that.
Yes. So it's a bit of a GIMP designed character. The other characters I've got are just a bard. She's just a bard.
Why?
She's a red dragon disciple now, actually, so she's a bard that breathes fire.
Are you attempting to just make this as hard on yourself as possible?
Maybe. I've also got
Why?
a berserker or barbarian druid. Except for some reason this game doesn't let you barbarian rage when wild shaped. And a ranger who is built entirely around her animal companion.
That's a cheese build that's actually legitimate, but
yes,
still.
It is. So she tends to carry a lot of the damage of the group.
I heard that in the latest version of tabletop D&D, though, they had to repeatedly patch the ranger because it was so GIMP that it just didn't work, no matter what you did.
I don't know about 5.0 and onwards, so...
Yeah,
I heard that they actually had to patch the books. Like they had to release additional supplementary material to give rangers a way to do anything. I think it was one of the animal companion classes anyway.
Yeah.
And or was it? Yeah, I think it was anyway. Also, druids were broken again.
Druids
last
were
I
really
heard.
broken.
Yeah, they keep getting broken as well. Like I think that it's sort of like it's broken for the same reason druids often go through broken phases on World of Warcraft. Is just that they get the best of every world.
Yeah, they are an incredibly versatile class, no matter what game they show up in.
Yeah, druids just get a big toolbox they can do whatever they want with.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's like that's the sort of thing in D&D. I can't help but compare and contrast the paladin and the druid, because the druid basically gets all of the good bits from all of the sort of archetypes that play into it, and the paladin gets all of the bad parts of all of the archetypes that play into it.
Typically, a paladin was supposed to have ridiculous power, but also a lot of constraints binding them.
But those only work on the tabletop. They don't work in video games.
Correct.
Period. Like, it just falls apart.
Yeah.
The DM has to help you, though, still on the tabletop, and give you opportunities to do things that are pertinent to being a paladin in order for a paladin to function. Like, you need sort of like more corollary material and side quest material than most classes do in order to function.
Yeah.
Because you can't be holy without something to be holy at. Just killing a dragon isn't holy.
Nope.
As a 20-second PSA, talk to your dang DM if you're going to play tabletop, if you're going to make something like a paladin.
Yes.
Or you're not going to get to use most of the stuff that you want to with that paladin, because the DM needs to incorporate it into the story somehow.
I wonder if a DM is actually going to let me play that the ranger concept where it's a halfling ranger and she basically lives on the back of her bear. Never gets off it. Could be fun.
I don't see myself running proper, like, Edgeworlder Greyhawk 3.5 for a long time. Those universes are just not fun to write in.
Yeah.
It's not just that, but they're constructed entirely out of very old, well-worn archetypes. Their main use is that everybody knows them. It's not that they're especially interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's that anybody can play Greyhawk and know exactly what's going on.
You can ad-lib a Greyhawk adventure very good and very easy. But for the DM that sits down and for the DM that sits down and writes stuff, it is it's like eating stale bread for hours at a time.
Yeah.
You don't want to write in Greyhawk if you've been doing this for a while.
It
gets
like the
really,
most
really
bland
boring
thing to write.
Like, okay,
well,
this place does this.
They keep trying to fix that, though, and I feel like that's sort of become a problem for the property as a whole. Like, because they keep bringing in all these cosmological revamps and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you're not really solving the problem. Oh my goodness, a Diapho. What the heck is that thing?
It's a thing.
It's a thing you
Hanged
might want to
Man.
run from. I don't think that was that hard. Is that the high defense one? That might be the high defense one.
I have no idea. But Velvet's nearly dead again, because that seems to be what she does.
Yes. Ew. Odd numbers on stats. Ew.
Ugh.
I had a spare point.
Tabletop.
Tabletop, yeah. Like, a lot of the games that interest me going forward and things that I would be interesting in playing are pretty much entirely homebrew. Just playing in Forgotten Realms or whatnot, okay, it makes for a good, reliable setting, but it's also very, very vanilla.
Yeah, Forgotten Realms, Greyhawk, Edge Realm, any of that stuff is just there so you can ad-lib an adventure when people say, hey, we should play tabletop, and you ain't got anything prepared.
Let's go kill a dragon.
That's what they exist for.
Yeah.
If you actually want to do a serious campaign, no GM in their right mind is going to sit down and try and write for that stuff. It's going to drive them up the wall. There are some people that can do it. There are some people that can't. Those people are also insane.
Alright, what else did I do this week then? Black Friday happened, so I kind of managed to shop around and I ordered myself a Switch.
Fiscal responsibility, ho!
Oh!
Been a whole lot of that going around.
Yeah, Black Friday kind of does that. It also seems to be a way of hospitalizing old people. Seriously, what is going on over there?
Oh, people being dumb at the stores? Yeah, that's just the thing that happens. I haven't even processed that it happens.
It just happens.
Like, oh, another person got trampled. Oh, that's expected. There's at least 4 sacrifices to the gods of retail every year via trampling somewhere in each state.
Good grief.
Your consumer culture needs some help.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you just don't go out on either Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving. You don't leave the house.
You just stay put. Stay home.
Because safe. It's the purge out there.
Yeah, you just don't go near anywhere retail on those 2 days. You don't even go near the food places. You don't go to your grocery store on those 2 days. You stay in your house, and you wait for the mobs to kill each other. And then you go out on Saturday and get the stuff you need.
Oh, good fun. Just why? Why do people have to go so absolutely mental about these things?
Especially when you've got itchy feet problems and you need to go to the drugstore, but you can't because it's Black Friday. This was a problem this year, by the way. Drove me nuts.
Because your feet were...
Had itchy feet?
Yes. Yeah, could not go get Lortraman for spraying on your itchy feet. Because if you go out anywhere on Black Friday, you're going to get trampled on, even at the drugstore.
What, did you, try and do an Irish jig and some poison ivy? Why are your feet itchy?
Probably from working outside and stepping in something I wasn't supposed to.
So, yes, you did do an Irish jig and some poison ivy.
Probably. I've been climbing ladders and hanging Christmas lights all day.
Ah, yes. 'Tis the season to fall off ladders.
For Americans, anyway.
Yeah.
They don't do that in New Zealand. There are a handful of people who try and get enthusiastic and competitive with their Christmas lights, but it usually ends up whiffing because nobody else cares.
Yeah, there's people around here who really go all out with their Christmas lights, but for me, it's get outside, think, okay, I'm going to do something great for Christmas. Put the ladder up, crawl on the roof, almost die, get down and say, screw it, and go inside.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, no, that's not optional here. It is a must-happen thing.
It's probably because all of the other houses on the street do it, though.
No,
it's like you don't want to be the one. Don't want to be the one guy that doesn't.
I think it's just tradition at my house because it used to be that way at everywhere else we lived. We are the only people that put up lights at on the street we live right now. But because we've done it every single year, my parents are like, "Oh, okay, we gotta put up the lights." I'm like, neither of y'all are gonna climb these ladders. So what you actually mean is I gotta put up the lights.
Yeah.
Yes, that is what we mean.
That's the way these things tend to go, yes.
Yes, so let me tell you, stapling upside down is not a fun time.
Especially when you are carrying several hams with you.
Yes.
Hams were from the day before.
Oh, boy.
There's a story in the Discord for this, y'all wondering. You can go there and join us on Discord.
I haven't actually read that yet. I need to go and do that. Because it's been a worky week.
Work is not fun.
What else? As far as anime goes, still picking away at Hunter x Hunter, getting towards the tail end of the Chimera Ant arc, which I think is getting
Why would you do this?
To up to date.
You already said you didn't think much of it.
Yeah, I didn't, but it's just good stock shonen, and that's it. That's all it is. So it's
Does the lead have a volume control?
Yes, he shuts up occasionally. I mean, that's actually unique among shonen protagonists. That said, though, he still has a stupid haircut and he's not too bright. So he didn't fall far from the tree. Yeah, there's not a whole lot really to say about it. It's just shonen being shonen. The other anime, of course, is Slimy Time. That time I got reincarnated as slime.
Why did the slime show make me feel feels?
The dumb isekai show hit me right in the feels.
Why would it do this? That's not its job.
No, it's not.
It's not what I asked it to do.
I went in wanting to laugh. And it made me cry. Nearly. Because I'm manly.
It's like an episode-long death scene.
It is!
Like, why? Why would you do this?
Slight spoilers, by the way.
Well, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's a death scene you can
Did you watch the start sequence? I mean, come on.
I mean, right. Oh, boy. So that's really been about it for my week.
Dang it, talking about itchy feet got me thinking about itchy feet.
With any luck, next week I'll be able to talk about the Switch and not itchy feet.
We need to get you out of work, dude. We don't see you, like, all week.
Yeah, it's getting a bit, like, I'm worried about your health. Because you never seem to do anything but work.
There's still only 3 of us managing a long-running business.
Yeah, it's like, Vol, like, other than this week, every other week has been, Vol goes, hey, Ari, you talked to Fern this week? No.
No.
And
I get off off Discord from after the show and kind of just fall down behind the fridge.
Yeah, and we don't hear from you until next week. And we're like, did he die?
No.
Does he have itchy feet? Do we need to go spray his itchy feet?
That's disturbing.
Like,
no, that's just you. You're the only one who is thinking about itchy feet.
Although we keep saying itchy feet, we're going to end up with everybody having itchy feet.
It is a nightmare.
Now I'm starting to feel like I've got itchy feet. Good grief, why would you do this?
Because you need to suffer with me. And makes it so you can't work. If they get itchy enough, you won't feel like you have to work. It might save your life.
Yeah. Oh look, my protag is dead already on the first encounter. This game can be really unfair sometimes.
It's even more unfair if you get really, really unlucky in Neverwinter Nights 1. You can technically... I think you can technically roll a wizard with 1 hit.
You can. It is actually completely possible.
And the game does not care at all that you rolled a wizard with 1 hit point.
No. You'd have to get -4 Constitution to have that happen?
Yeah, you've got to really have really crap stats and then a really crap roll for your hit points.
You would have to be Iron Man in your Constitution for that to happen.
I think in the most recent version of Neverwinter Nights 1, you always get the maximum possible roll for your first level hit points.
Yeah, you do.
So that you always start with a minimum of 4, because it was very cruel before then.
Yes. Hey,
yeah. Because it usually ends up that the median hit points that you start with is 2. So everything can one-shot you in the tutorial.
Yep.
Yeah. In revision
way,
1...
It is entirely possible in the tutorial to have something roll a natural 20 and just lay you out regardless.
Well, yeah, but that's like a 5% chance. I'm talking like, if you get hit by a weak goblin in Neverwinter Nights 1's tutorial, you will die, and it will be game over. That is what happens. It is dangerous out there for a wizard.
Yep.
Like, you're supposed to be, like, in the graduating class of, like, the Adventurer Academy or something like that.
Yeah, you are.
Nevertheless, the first goblin, does what goblins do in the Goblin Slayer anime to you.
Yeah,
horrible things.
Need to call Goblin Slayer.
Good grief.
Oh no.
Oh no, I should actually level these characters up. So incidentally, by the way, I've said it before just about every time I play Sword of Zahir. Volothamp is still the single most punchable character in the D&D universe.
I have to take your word for it. I haven't played Sword of Zahir.
He's a bard. I mean, that makes him
bards are usually punchable unless they're named Deacon.
Deacon is the boss. Deacon is the only good bard. But Volothamp is one of the big name characters who tends to turn up alongside Elminster usually. And he's just all smarm all the time. Smug, smarm, punch him in the face. Except he's also the character who in Universe has written a lot of the module books.
Are you supposed to like him? Like, I don't know. I don't know the character.
Well, they keep saying that we're supposed to like Drizzt.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what I'm getting at. Really, is he written to be punchable because you're supposed to think that he's kind of a twat, or is it like Drizzt, who you're supposed to think he's really cool, but he just comes off as like an isekai lead?
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be a bit of a twat. Just like you've got Elminster running around who is stupid powerful, but he's a little bit senile as well.
I love reading the interviews about Elminster.
He is way too powerful.
Well, I don't understand why you would even read a book about Elminster, because it's always a foregone conclusion. Nothing interesting is going to happen.
The best thing about Elminster is the developer interviews about the points where he showed up in games, and the author interviews about his books, because they don't even know what they were doing with him.
Come on, go back to his first major in-game appearance, Baldur's Gate 1. He gives you the whole doddering old fool diatribe, but then if you try and attack him, he will destroy you. Completely.
Yeah. From what we can gather, Elminster was meant to do something with Mystra in the Forgotten Realms universe, and then it got way out of hand.
Yeah.
He was originally just supposed to be there to set up Mystra and the magical interweavings of the universe, and then something happened and he became a Mary Sue.
Yeah.
And nobody can agree on exactly what happened and how he became that way. Everybody's trying to point at somebody else in the interviews.
Yeah, I feel like that those types of characters like Drizzt and Elminster basically became the patterns, the Western patterns for the isekai lead character. Like they're just they get everything without ever having to pay for it.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. Like any trials that they go through pale so dramatically in comparison to the rewards that are won that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah,
none of them have any genuine issues that hold them back in any way. It's always
yeah, like it's not
like
necessarily...
there's nobody who no nerd would rather read a book about Elminster than a book about Minsc. Like
I'd read a book about Minsc.
Like
a book about Minsc could be awesome.
It would also be written
a book about. Well, it's true. It would be written in caps lock, and he's a hero. He's a canon hero, so he's going to survive. But the things that happened along the way would be interesting and probably quite absurd. In the case of Elminster, the only question is like how many people are going to have to grovel before Elminster before it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason in the Drizzt books, nobody likes Drizzt, everybody likes Jarlaxle. In the Baldur's Gate series, whenever any of the big name players come up, the only person people care about is Minsc and Boo.
Yes. And by extension, Dynahir, till she dies.
Like, in every single one of these sub-universes within the Forgotten Realms, it's always the secondary characters that are better than their leads. In every single one. It's just a weird thing I've noticed.
It's because the lead is the author's self-insert, and nobody likes the author.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
that's really what it comes down to. I think it's writers that get too attached to their characters, crossed with corporate meddling saying that you need to make this character look good because we need to use them to promote something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing to have these stupid, powerful characters in your universe, but don't make them your protagonists.
Well, it's like the scenario when you get to the end of a campaign, and let's say you finish it in the traditional way, and the traditional end to a long campaign is the characters become god, and at that point you don't keep playing.
Yeah, the story's finished.
You retire those, and if you use the universe again, then the previous players are now NPCs. Like it's not a world where I'm godlike, so now I get to rampage around beating the crap out of everything. Like that's what New Game Plus is for.
Yeah,
you can do that in a video game if you want.
or the old DM remembers the Wandering Bard's name from getting on Discord one time, takes your old character and turns him into a character named the Wandering Bard 10 years after you played that character. thing that happened to my first ever rogue. I'm not happy with that DM.
I think we've still got characters wandering around the universe somewhere from an old Rantathon.
You probably do. I don't remember. I was drunk as crap during that Rantathon.
I noticed because my character ended up wearing the codpiece of Bowie or something like that.
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember a dang thing about that adventure. That's how drunk I was.
It was a very dumb adventure.
I don't remember a thing about it. You could tell me stuff happened, I just have to nod my head and say, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that happened.
Right. So yeah, on the plus side at least, tabletop is always good for a dumb story or two.
Yeah.
Well, that's really what it's about, though, to generate that sort of meta mythos.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should really try and find a third. If you want to be our third, I do have a serious campaign pretty much ready to go. I'm doing revisions on the player handbook right now, but those can be done in like an evening. So, if we can actually find a third, we can see about maybe doing something where people can listen in.
Fern would need to no longer be working 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That's the other reason I haven't.
There's literally no... as far as I can tell from where I sit, Fern doesn't have any leisure time.
Not
ever.
Really, no.
Yeah, we'd have to dig him out. That's the other reason I haven't gone looking for a third.
Yeah.
Because you would be down to 2 again.
They're supposed to be getting new employees, but every time we get one close to being ready to work, they fall down behind the fridge. There's a lot of stuff down behind that fridge, and it's not pleasant.
Have you had any candidates arrested before? You seem to live in a rough neck of the woods.
Not arrested. At least not while they were in the employment process.
Oh, Fern.
Where is time? What is time?
Like, we think we're busy, and then we think of Fern. And how we don't hear from you literally all week.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with Fern's job is it's not really a matter of how busy he is, because even if he's not busy, he still can't do anything because he's got to sit and wait to be busy instead.
Exactly. I could try and come home and, play some Vidya, but the moment I get home and fire up whatever I'm doing, even if I've just left it paused, which I do annoyingly often, then yeah, I'll be guaranteed to be interrupted. So, yeah. What is life? Give it back. Ugh.
You need to get a new job, man.
I do.
Like, burger flipping would be healthier for you than what you do right now.
I don't know. I've done my time in retail. Actually, let's make it compulsory. Everybody should do retail.
No, I'm not going to work retail.
Everyone should do retail.
It is a life experience that I will not ever repeat.
It is definitely an experience. And it might definitely knock the smug out of certain people who will remain nameless.
Well, retail's not that bad as long as you're not doing it during holidays or heavy traffic times.
Yaha.
It's only during holidays and heavy traffic times.
It depends on the type of retail, though, because some types of retail, let's say supermarket retail, most of the people who are there at the supermarket know what they are at the supermarket to buy.
Yes.
And there are other types of retail where you are supposed to offer them the right product, and then they will tell you that that's not what they want, but they don't know what they do want.
You think you do, but you don't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, they don't, because they don't know anything about the field whatsoever.
Yeah, glad I never worked at Best Buy.
You know how hard it is to get our clients at work to do what they're supposed to?
Oh, it's impossible.
They always think they know better.
Yeah. I used to work in a building firm, remember? Or a building certification firm. I was working between builders and the local city council.
Well, if they're council workers, then it's obvious they don't.
Well, yeah.
That's why they're working for the council most of the time.
Most of the people there were actually pretty nice people. It was just they were tied up by idiotic bureaucracy. Blah. Anywho, I'm going to stop whining and pass the weeks over to Vol.
Right,
okay.
well...
We got no news. We can tangent a bit on
the thing is,
jobs and itchy feet.
I don't really have much to talk about personally. What happened to this? I don't remember what day did this week start. Like, I don't remember much about this week because my schedule is totally all over the place.
Weren't you supposed to be going onto a fixed schedule?
I am, but there were a few hiccups in the transition. So because there was public holidays going through at the same time, and so I don't really know what day of the week it is on any given day now. I just show up to work 5 days in a row and then take a break. So I can't remember what things happened this week. What things happened last week?
There was ASMR only.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we'll start with the Thanksgiving banners then in FGO. So Thanksgiving banners in FGO are similar to New Year's banners in Japan in that they have usually a rare banner each day, and you've got a chance to throw some tickets at it. So, well, you can roll as much as you want on them. I just threw tickets at most of them. So the first one was... What was the first one? Raiko? Or was that the second one?
Second one.
First one was Iskandar.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah, first one was Iskandar, threw 1 ticket, got nothing. Second one was Raiko. I threw 10 tickets, got nothing. No, that's not strictly true. I got Tamamo Cat, the most useless 4-star berserker in the game.
Yeah.
All right, you got spooked.
She's pretty bad.
Yeah, I got spooked good and proper. The gacha has done nothing but relentlessly troll me all week. It's been quite unpleasant, quite cruel.
She's good at that.
And unusual. Yeah. Been rough. Been terribly rough. Third one, what was the third one, Jack? Maybe? Skaha. Okay. Threw 1 ticket, got nothing. Next one was Jack, right? Was Jack even on there? Or am I imagining that?
No,
Jack was Christmas.
Yeah, she was a Christmas one.
Next one was
I
ASMR
don't have a list in front of me. Yeah, the next one was the ASMR Oni. And being that she's a arts AoE semi-support assassin, and currently I'm using an incredibly bad quick AoE assassin as my main assassin solution for large numbers of enemies, I decided that I'd just go ham and get Shuten because she's not going to appear on another banner for like another 8 months or something. So yeah, I threw 30 tickets to get her, and it was getting quite ridiculous that I got one other good thing during that 30 tickets, and that was I got a second copy of Rama, which lifts Rama from a bit of a lame single target saber to being a pretty decent single target saber. It seems like if you don't really get the second copy, it's always a bit much of a muchness whether or not you even bother to include a single target one over an AoE one. But yeah, they pull ahead pretty quickly when you hit that second copy. But yeah, for most of it, it was pretty. The gacha was not nice to me. I got 2 5-star CEs, both of which were awful, and both of which were the same. So the odds on that are not very high, I'm here to tell you. I think one was a Perfect Holy King, I think, which
something like
it just gives you like 1,000 extra hit points to each of your dude.
Not limit over 0?
No,
limit
not
zero.
limit over 0.
This was actually one of the few times I was around this week when Vor was pulling all his stuff for Mama Raiko, and it was a bit worrying.
Yeah, I've been debating with myself at great length over how to actually structure my spending of tickets in St. Quartz, because I don't really want to become a whale, because the odds are in favour based on previous experience of me not getting anything out of it except a huge loss in money. So I've been trying to work out what I'm going to do, and I think that I'll probably just forego the whole Buster thing entirely, because I've already got the outline of a pretty solid arts team, since I've got the premier arts damage funnel, a backup arts damage funnel, a solid semi-support AoE arts servant, and a pile of other stuff that fits together, along with, Tamamo to provide the engine for the whole thing. So I'm going to stop thinking about the meta, basically, entirely, because the reality is that the developers also think about the meta, and they've introduced things in Japan, like break bars and that, which basically mean that double Merlin teams sort of don't really work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Can't one round the boss.
Yeah, you can't just blow up the boss, because when you blow up the boss just brings out its next health bar. So that's the thing. That's what break bars are really about. It's basically like, my understanding, having avoided watching any footage because I don't want to get spoiled. The break bars seem to be about basically phases in a fight, the way you would have in a conventional RPG. So rather than just continuously jacking their health through the stratosphere, they have bars that you break after doing a certain amount of damage.
When those bars break,
conditions change each time the bar breaks.
And they don't change a little bit. Sometimes they change a lot of bit. I watched a couple non-story event quests. And like one of the fights had like this one, I forget who it was, one random servant, and when its bar broke, it just turned into a Hydra.
What?
Like it was just some normal servant, and then once its first HP bar goes away, the model there's a flash of smoke, and there's a big old screen filling Hydra.
So it's like, oh, okay. Hydra.
Okay, I guess so. If you say so, video game.
He goes, why not?
So
it was at any rate, it was a long and trying night, one ticket at a time, and so I blew 30 tickets on getting shoot in, and the 30th one was the last one. Like, I was just going to give up at that point.
Yep.
If I didn't get shoot in, because it was clearly not to be, but I got it on the last one, which is exactly the same process I went through with Ilya's V. On the very last ticket that I had to spend.
Yeah.
That was it.
Still
finally
salty.
It came through.
Still salty over that game just refusing to give me a second Nero.
Yeah, I was sort of surprised about that, because the rate on Nero wasn't that bad relative to the usual expectations.
And still I pulled some of the absolute worst pulls I've ever seen. The gacha, it is malicious. Purely malicious.
Yeah.
Most infamous rates in gacha games. Across all gacha games.
Yep. So yeah, Shootin's not really a conventionally good servant in a lot of, but she fits Arts teams well. She's got an Arts Noble Phantasm. She's got solid Noble Phantasm gain. She's basically solid in all of the stat areas. Doesn't do a lot of damage up front with her Noble Phantasm. Administers virtually every imaginable debuff with it, and has some passable support abilities, and generally on a sort of like a turn over turn basis hits harder than any other assassin in the game, like including Jack. Because Jack's power largely comes from her massive Noble Phantasm gen and her massive star gen. Yeah. Shooting just has a higher attack stat than everybody else. So in those in-between turns when you're waiting for things to happen, like Arts teams often do, because Arts teams tend to just run on a slow burn and be very stable over a long period of time, do that turn-over-turn damage that Arts teams need in order to bring the battle to a conclusion. Shooting's very good.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's always that 2 to 3 turns where you're just sitting there and getting your Noble Phantasm back.
Yeah.
Well, oftentimes you're using like 2 characters, or sometimes more, depending on your layouts. There are a few teams that use very weird setups that you don't do damage with most of your Noble Phantasms to begin with, because you've got like Jean and Tamamo or something, and you're just planning to draw the fight out for an appreciable fraction of eternity while everything around you dies. So, yeah, that's the way a lot of these things go. Now, I've enjoyed running very, very slow-paced Arts teams in the past, like during the Parade of Hassan challenge and whatnot, where that fight took forever for me to do. But it was about maintaining your stability throughout, making sure you balance all the factors involved. And I used a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star team. Because it was Medea, Irisveal, and Tamamo. And Medea is mediocre, although she's extremely good for that particular fight. And Irisveal, who was just bad, but because she was a stable art support, I used her anyway. Medea Lily would have been infinitely better because Parade of Hassan's is one of the few fights she's very, very good for. But I didn't have one handy because some people don't level theirs.
That's because most of the time she's not very good.
Yeah, that's true. I can't blame anybody for not leveling Medea Lily. She's awful.
Yeah.
Though there are some people that just absolutely swear by her. Like maybe they've just had real good luck using her. But for most people's purposes, she's a servant that doesn't do anything except make the fight take longer. Like she doesn't really increase your stability, just the duration of the because the only thing you can really do is heal and heal and heal and heal and heal.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the tools you got available. If you only got one thing that can do damage and you need that thing to not die in that particular encounter, she's really good for that.
Well, she can. The thing is that her healing is pretty much just burst healing, ultimately. If you want to just, heal turn over turn, using Hans and using Jean and using Tamamo are all better options because they can do other things while they administer that healing. Medea Lily really can't. Medea Lily can heal more in volume than anybody else, but frankly, if you need that volume, things have already gone way south of where you need them to be in a stable team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't think of a reason why you would use her rather than just structuring a better team that doesn't need that volume of healing, because her healing is like panic healing level. There's no other servant which can do what she can do. But you don't even want to be in the position where you need what she can do. That's the problem. But yeah. So next banner was Gilgamesh. I threw one ticket at him, didn't get him. Next banner is Voidchki. I threw one ticket at her and didn't get her. Ari, on the other hand, went ham.
So I actually got her on the first temple.
Of course.
Well, you're RSTL, of course you did. No, nobody expects anything different.
But just for funsies, I had already budgeted, no joke, 4 temples for her banner again, because I've been using her and just wedging her into every single team I can afford to wedge her into, even if she doesn't quite fit, just because I like Shiki. So I was like, okay, I got all this court set aside. I'm going to be sure that I at least put a good effort in trying to get her first one. Okay. And I'm like, I was also kind of hoping to get the Toko CE because she's my waifu for Type Moon. So I might have thrown an extra 10 pull at it that I didn't need to. Just because.
Just cause.
Didn't get that, but that's okay. So, yeah. Void Shiki has the Squirtoria problem, where she has a heal that's really, really good, but eats 10% of your NP bar when you use it. So if you can't overcharge, you can't use that heal nearly as reliably as you normally would be able to if you had overcharge. So as much as I use her, it was worth it to try and go for it again. Although I had budgeted out a lot more thinking this would be a lot harder. But no, this was not I need 150 quartz like I did for Cleo, but this was I needed 30.
But you got 2 copies of Cleo as well. It's not I need 150.
I did. Well, I got to get the second copy off the rando tickets. But or it might have been the stray quartz I got from the actual Halloween event, but I don't remember which. But yeah, it did take a few quartz to get her the first time. But yeah, so got Shiki, and I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of the quartz. This is a problem. I was kind of hoping Shiki would eat the quartz, so I don't have to think about it. Because I don't want to have to think about maybe getting Genital Wizard.
Yep. I see. So this is the Gachas game. You actually wanted to shed quartz, so it refused to let you. That sounds more like the gacha.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if I'm capable of entering that mindset.
I just don't want to think about it. It's the same reason I just started shoving grails at people's butts. Wait, I don't want to think about it.
I don't want to think about that particularly either.
That sounds deeply uncomfortable.
Well, it's like, okay, I got all these grails sitting around. I could sit here and debate and ha over it forever, and it's just going to be space in my brain dedicated to processing that I don't want to think about. So I'm just going to pick a character I like and stick it up their butt. That's what I did.
That's not how the Holy Grail works, so.
That is exactly
traditionally, this is not the usage method for a cup.
No, it is not.
So, Shiki and Cleo got the grails because, hey, I like these 2 characters, they can have them. And that was as far as the thought process went with grailing who I grailed. because I just don't want that extra garbage sitting in my brain to think about.
All of my grails are earmarked for a genre that I don't have.
I was really, really hoping for the ability to just blow all my quartz and just say, I ain't got any quartz left for Genital Wizard. I don't have to think about it. I have to save 30 for the paid gacha, and that's it.
No,
I don't have...
There's Dante's in February.
Yeah, that's true. But... Oh, man, he is coming up in February, ain't it? This is why gacha games are dangerous, kids. Don't play gacha games. They eat too much brain space. It's just too much processing about what's coming up in the future and planning and thinking about what you should spend stuff on and resisting impulse spending.
I wonder what it's like in Japan. Because nobody knows what the future banners are going to be.
It's probably less taxing, honestly. Or you can at least get into a headspace where you're like, I like what's out. If something better comes out, I didn't know it was coming.
But on the other hand, maybe that makes them spend more money.
That is true.
Because they're going to have no quartz. They can't save in advance. Like, suddenly the new Jolter comes out, and it's like, holy cow, this is powerful. I need this servant. I'm already super invested in this game.
You know,
and do they just wail? Is that what happens?
I don't know. The game is like number 6 in the most money earned in mobile games right now, so they must spend some money.
Yeah, it's probably higher than that. I think probably by now it's probably higher than that.
Yeah, it's number 6 when I last looked, or 5 or 4 or something like that. It was getting up there. But yeah,
it was the 6th highest grossing mobile game in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
Total revenue is over 2 billion.
That's
Idarus was on the last list I looked at. Idarus was number 10. Oh. Yeah. I was a bad person for getting people into this game.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Abo. I apologize.
The gacha game is the greatest evil.
Yeah.
Bad civilization.
Especially one that has so many waifus in it.
Well, the Idols game is all waifu.
It is all... Well, come on, Fate's not too far off.
I don't know. I guess I don't really see Old Man of the Mountain as waifu material.
Yeah, you don't need the idol waifus to play the story.
No, but come on. At the end of the day, everybody is somebody's waifu. Even the... What is he? Ghost Doggo.
Hessian Lobo?
Yeah, Hessian Lobo. Hessian Lobo is somebody's waifu.
Husbando. Dog Bando?
Dog Bando.
Well, there's a headless dude riding on.
He is somebody's
but it's the dog in control, isn't it?
Huh?
I think it's the dog in control.
I'm pretty sure it's
neither of them are in control. They're a two-part servant, Anne and Mary, because neither of their legends are powerful enough on their own, so they sort of combined.
There's a lot of servants like that.
I've seen the very brief summary on the character page. I haven't actually read about it, so...
Mate.
But yeah. So you're caught up totally with the story and the free quest, right?
Absolutely not.
No, not even remotely.
I haven't done one of the free quests in London. I haven't done any of the free quests in America, and I haven't done any of the free quests in Camelot. And I've done like 4 interludes, grand total, something like that.
Good gravy.
For a game that's, of a genre that is so unbelievably shallow, FGO at least has a lot to do.
Well, there's a lot of air quote story there, even if it is just Gilgamesh taking you on a D&D adventure because he wants to go fight a dragon.
I would totally play that.
Well, it seems strange that there's so much that I haven't done when I spend so much time playing the game, but what you've got to remember is I have to spend most of that time farming EXP, because unlike you, I didn't pull all the best stuff right out of the gate. So I've got heaps of characters that I've leveled up to max in the past that I never touch anymore, because I don't need to. Since then, I've gotten things that are strict upgrade over them in one way. I've got huge repositories of spent EXP that basically don't see any.
I've got to go and farm because I don't have time to level anything up. I got some good servants. I got some really good servants, but a lot of them are just sitting at level 1.
The benefit of, I'll use it all the dang time.
Yes.
The benefit of having gone through the leveling up of Lobby servants a lot is that when events come around, you don't have a whole bunch of level 1s in your party.
Yeah.
You've got dudes that can actually do the fighting for you if you need them.
It's also giving you a much better idea of the strategy behind the game, whereas for me it's trot out Jolter and burn the witch.
Yeah, I don't have that option.
Yeah.
I have been deliberately leaving Jolter on the back burner just because I don't want to use her.
Because burn the witch is ridiculous.
She's tactically neutral in 99% of situations, save for the fact that her attack stat is through the roof.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like she's the brute force option, the blunt instrument.
Yeah.
And when I need a blunt instrument, I use Martha for that. But
punch it.
Usually, I only use her if there's some situation where I can't afford to use a typed servant because it would put me in a bad situation later, or for like the daily where it's random classes and I just don't want to think about what's going to happen if I pick the wrong class and get hard counted because it'll mess things up later. Because I want those back 3 slots for bond leveling and for bond CE and stuff like that. So I don't want to ever have anybody die. It would be real bad.
Oh, the bond grind. I'm trying to get everybody to bond 5 so that I can just throw EXP cards in them and get their interludes unlocked.
I'm opting to push my high level ones to bond 6 because I want all that delicious Saint Quartz.
Yeah. I've got most of my most frequently used dudes at bond 6 or 7. Herc is on his way to 10. He's about halfway through 9.
I have Kiyohime at 10.
He's got half a diamond to go, and he'll be 10. He's 9.5.
There's only millions.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I got Kiyohime to 10, and basically because she's been with me since the beginning is pretty much the reason, and has basically never failed to come through in a pinch.
She is best snack.
Yeah, unfortunately, some people don't get to pick their waifus; they get stalked by them instead.
Yeah.
She's not a conspicuous CG snack, though.
No, not a conspicuous CG snack. Though she is conspicuous in her own ways, based on her appearances in the recent events.
She's been quite terrifying.
It was her, Mama Raiko, and who else during the last Halloween event? Oh, right.
Yeah.
The sneaking into Master's Bed trio.
Yes. Oh dear. There's some weird stuff going on in that series. That
do you know they all can swim in lava?
Yes. That was just what? That whole sequence was just what?
Yeah, well, that's any Elizabeth centric event is going to end up.
Yeah.
Though the next Halloween event is even more ridiculous. So
it has robots.
It
does have robots. And what's more, it takes place in the same location. And neither the castle nor the pyramid are gone. They just, put something else on top, is what I understand happens.
They just keep stacking.
Yeah.
It's like, Cleo, why did you crash this pyramid into my castle? It wasn't Cleo, it was me, Dio.
It was me. Yeah, he totally pulls a Dio. Oh, Ozzy, you're so loud.
Ozzy he won a lot of points during Camelot for just how stupid he was. He was so stupid awesome in Camelot.
Yeah, he's like the likable Gilgamesh.
He is. Like, he's arrogant and he's powerful and he wears a lot of shiny gold, but he's still likable.
The in brackets parentheses where they couldn't quite translate what I think they wanted to translate right, so they give you a whole sentence in parentheses. Ozymandias gives you a look like, did you notice that? At one point during the story mode.
And then congratulates you on not noticing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter what answer you give him, he still congratulates you.
Yeah, he does. But then we had the Christmas event, or the first Christmas event Rewind, which was
the most dubious canon of all the events.
Santa Alta, and as much as she tries to be nice, she is just pure evil.
I think the reverse is true.
I don't know.
As much as she tries to, up until the point where she tries to give Monopoly to somebody for Christmas.
Well, she does that, and she also the whole ordeal with the 3 idiots on a boat. She gives them black keys.
Like it. Well, yeah, but they deserve it.
And then she drops Liz on top of them to sing. I mean, that's just
Liz
cruel.
Has a wonderful singing voice. It's not Liz's fault that she speaks Dover when she sings. She has a wonderful singing. She has a wonderful singing voice. It's not her fault that she has Sonic Dragon heritage.
Yeah, so it's definitely La La Fusoda.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
She can't help it. She's just enjoying herself. She doesn't realize that her singing has an effect on people.
Denied.
That doesn't excuse Nero, though.
Well, yeah, Nero's just a garden variety awful singer.
Yes. But she's too arrogant to notice.
Padoru. 'Tis the season.
In case you haven't noticed, we don't have anything to talk about this week, so we're just killing time.
Yeah, very much so. So
this is a filler show, folks.
Yeah, until the industry decides to do something interesting again.
Well, something not
so yeah. I'm probably not going to roll on Old Man of the Mountain. I'll probably dump all of my remaining tickets on the Amakusa banner when it comes out, because I view tickets as sort of like what you spend when you're not super serial.
Yeah.
Like when it's not serious business, I must have this servant, then you spend ticket. And I'd very much like to have Amakusa, but Amakusa will keep coming around like he's going to be back again for White, so
yeah,
I can wait till then if I don't get him this time. But I don't think I have any tickets to spend on White. But as I will have blown a lot of by that point. But yeah, so I'll probably chuck a couple tickets at Dick Wizard and not really care. I'm not sure if I'm going to attempt to spend on Castergill. I might or might not. I don't feel very strongly about it, one way or another. But he's a solid art servant. A lot of people think he's very good.
Mm-hmm.
I probably won't try too hard to get Musashi, though there are other things that sometimes on her banner that I might try for. Like I might throw a ticket at Musashi, I might throw a ticket at Shiki, since she'll be back up again on Musashi's banner.
Okay.
And Ilya as well will also be back. So will Iskander, Skaha, Ishtar.
Assuming that Thanksgiving doesn't unnom the New Year's banners.
Well, the thing is that they have to do Musashi. They can't not do Musashi.
Yeah.
So it's reasonable to expect that the others will be there as well.
Yeah.
Like Musashi is like a super popular waifu in Japan, so she's going to be over here. And waifus generate revenue.
Yes.
Not to put too fine a point on it. King Hassan, I probably won't spend too much on. I'll throw some tickets at him maybe because he's very, very Buster heavy, and I don't really pick up more Buster. I've just blown 30 tickets and getting another set.
Oh, hello. There'd be lag.
Yeah, there'd be lag. I thought it's not me. Okay, so Vol's the one that got a hiccup there.
I think it's me because I can't hear what you're talking about. I can't hear the lag. So
yeah, okay.
I presume it's me. Yeah. I don't care about Dante's quick noble phantasm. But
just rolling for the art. Only reason I'm rolling.
I don't know. Maybe I'll take a shine to him if I play his story. I wasn't sufficiently progressed to participate last time. There are lots of goodies available for his missions, but some of them are brutal, like really brutal. Like I look at the fight and I can't even imagine what you would need to get through this fight. I need to look up a walkthrough for that.
Don't you have to take Dante's for all of them as your support?
This is the one that I'm referring to is like a super ultra challenge one, so you might not need to. Not sure, but because as I understand it, if I'm thinking of the thing I think I'm thinking about, they add additional challenge to the rerun because it wasn't hard enough the first time.
Oh, good
so
grief.
Yeah, but there are other sort of there are much more nightmarish fights in the future. Like there's one that legendarily was designed to be impossible, and a couple of people managed to devise a way to squeak through and do it just barely, if I recall correctly.
I've heard some of the fights in Battle for New York are like that. Just absolutely a nightmare ones.
That's one of the ones that I'm referring to. It was as in Gilfest. Well, they call it Gilfest because he basically usurps Nerofest. There's also one that's supposedly unbelievably brutal because you can choose to do it in hard mode. In the CCC event, one of the Kiaras is supposedly just like completely redonkulous. You're supposed to use mechanics to grind down her difficulty before you attempt her, but you can just face check her.
Yeah, there's one challenge quest I saw that looked really interesting, but really stupid hard in Battle for New York, where Queen Asheba just loans you a buff, and if you don't pay it back, like if she gives you a crit buff, you have to crit her. She gets some stupid redonkulous buff, and you get a debuff, and you don't get rid of one of her damage reduction shields. And you have to do this like 20 times before you can even hurt her. And on her first break bar, she gets all the buffs back, on all of her damage debuffs back. And you have to do this like 20 times. And she has two dudes, one that just buffs her NP every single turn, and another one that just hits you really hard. And she will just respawn them every break bar.
Yeah, some of the fights are quite interesting. They are supposed to be challenging, and they do deliver on that. So, yeah. So basically, from now, the bulk of my quartz is basically going to be hoarded for Mysterious Heroine X and Melt Lilith. That's where the majority of it is going to get.
Darth Altaria.
She's adorable.
She's a Sith Lord.
An adorable Sith Lord.
She has Darth Maul's lightsaber.
An adorable lightsaber.
It is literally Darth Maul's lightsaber. She has a Force lightning.
That was the gag. That was the whole point. Because the whole Mysterious Heroine plot line is a Spaceballs gimmick.
Yeah, it was so blatant when I finally watched her animations this week to see what she was like. I just, this is just Darth Maul with a saber face.
Yeah, she even uses the same killing blow that Darth Maul uses on Qui-Gon.
It's so...
It's an extra animation.
It's just... I was watching it and I'm like, how are they not sued?
Because it's a laser sword, not a lightsaber.
It's just... She is Darth Maul with a saber face.
But yeah, so what else did I do this week? Okay, so rather than having to compete for people's money with everybody else, some of the stores around here decided that they would do their Cyber Monday the Monday before Thanksgiving instead of the Monday after.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
I know, but it's also incredibly profitable because everybody spends their money up front instead of you having to compete with everyone else. So I decided that, we probably won't talk about it at length this week because we've talked about it at length before, but Sony's censorship march continues apace. And
yes,
is leaving a bigger and bigger mark as days go by on upcoming releases. And I'm a big believer in putting my money where my mouth. So I've got to basically shift platforms back to the PC. And my PC is not in good shape right now. So I used the opportunity to purchase some new bits, which are now sitting in boxes around my room because I haven't got the motivation to do the rebuild yet. But yeah, so I've got a few bits and pieces here and there. I didn't get a new graphics card since my current one is only 2 years old, so it's still usable. And I found out in the process of picking my parts that my current RAM sticks are like 1200s. So that's probably where the bottleneck is, which is keeping my computer acting in such a strangled fashion. But
as a general rule, you can't buy either 1200 RAM sticks or motherboards anymore.
No, you can't.
Nah.
But so I've got this box here sitting on top of my stack of PS3 games, which is my visual gimmick. It is my new Ryzen 5 2600X core.
Excellent.
Go into the new device, and I've got a Gigabyte motherboard. I've got a couple of decent RAM sticks, a can't remember how fast they are, 3200s or something like that. Which I presume is better than 1200s. And I've got an M2 drive to install the new software on new build on.
Yeah.
Because I don't like reusing solid state memory because it's got a shelf life. And I don't really want to put it in there and find that, oh, well, actually everything just failed because I tried to use this drive for too many years and its rewrites got filled out. But, is that common knowledge? Do most people know that?
No.
That you can only write to solid state memory a fixed number of times and then it can't actually change the data anymore. It just freezes and stops working.
I don't know how many people know.
That seems like an important thing to know. Especially if you're dumb enough to do something like hit the defrag button on a solid state.
Yeah, don't do that.
Which will kill it.
Most people, well, okay, that's a lie. I work with fossils.
Yes.
So no, they definitely don't know, but I've told them not to push the defrag button.
Yeah, as far as I know, Windows actually turns off automatic defrags for solid state drives.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
No, it does not.
Not just for opossums.
Not opossums. No. Oh dear.
No, I had to go in the Freedom Opossums computer and turn it off manually.
Huh. Just as well I did make sure it was checked and turned off then.
If you tell that thing to auto defrag, it will auto defrag all your drives. It does not. It does not care.
That's good to know. So be aware of that.
No.
Right. I've got these new core pieces. I'm not interested in overclocking whatsoever. I mainly got a Ryzen core because at the price bracket that I was looking at, it was just way better for the money than the Intel offering. They're relatively close to my surprise at the moment. Probably because I haven't really bought a core since AMD managed to get itself back in the game. But yeah, the Ryzen was just better value for money, so I went with that. I bought the other pieces around that. So I haven't actually started rebuilding. Maybe I will tomorrow, but there's a lot about building a PC that I don't like, and most of it is on the software side rather than the hardware side. I hate reinstalling Windows and then having to reinstall all of the crap. You got to spend like 3 hours beforehand making a list of all the stuff you need to reinstall, and then you've got to make sure that your OS hasn't decided to save things to unpredictable places.
Yeah.
You've got to somehow extract from your boot drive all of the things which Windows obliges you to stick on your boot drive that you don't want to stick on your boot drive, but it has a cry if you try not to.
You've got to turn off all the tracking and whatnot. Don't forget that.
Yeah. And no matter how hard you try, no matter how much time and effort you put in, invariably you'll miss something. So, yeah. I'll do all that crap. I'll back up everything that I've got to back up. I've got to somehow track down a memory stick somewhere, and hopefully the utility thing will allow me to create a boot key for my new build. Yeah, I hope so. I've never done it before. Like, I've always installed from a disk, like an old school person, because I've got a legitimate one.
Yeah, you were asking me, like, what do I do? Will it give me a boot key? I'm like, I don't know. I just always plugged in a CD drive and just stuck in the disk.
Yeah, but I've only got a Windows 7 disk, and you can't get free upgrades anymore. So, yeah, there's the problem with that.
I ended up having to make a backup system dongle on the USB and then install a OEM version of Windows from it. Because it wouldn't like my old key because reasons.
Yeah, I don't actually know where my old product key is. Around in one of these boxes. I have to dig for it. There's a lot of...
Microsoft now saves those keys to your Microsoft account, which is also your Skype account. Sometimes. What you're supposed to be able to do is just log in with your account and it says, this key is no longer associated with a computer. Would you like to use it with this one? Press yes, and it's done.
But how do you unassociate it with one computer so you can associate it with another?
Somewhere in settings.
You log into your account after that point and you can say this computer no longer uses this key, which is all part of the registration process. But for me...
This sounds way more complicated than I expected.
Yeah. It's Microsoft and they can't do anything in a reasonable manner. It would be nice if this actually worked as advertised, but it didn't for me. It saw that I had a key, but it didn't record what the actual key was and wouldn't allow me to use said key. So, yeah, your mileage is probably going to vary a bit on that.
Because I really don't want to obliterate my old computer and then find that I can't install Windows on the new one because I don't have a valid key anymore somehow.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you avoid that situation. I can't test it first.
No, you can't. And it's really annoying. I was able to actually run the computer for a while, well beyond the usual registration period.
This is why people pirate stuff. Why don't they understand this?
And this is assuming you don't have one of the bunk keys.
This is assuming you don't have a bunk key, exactly.
Yeah, there are plenty of bunk keys, and I bumped into a few of these, where it just isn't a proper key anymore after you unregister it for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, Microsoft just decides that that key isn't valid, despite it working perfectly fine on the other computer.
Yep.
And there's basically no way to tell if you've got a bunk key or not.
Yeah, that may have been what happened to me. I have no idea because there was absolutely no way to know.
It's happened a few times to me, but I've reinstalled Windows a bunch of times with the CDs, granted, but still, that doesn't change anything if you got a bunk key.
Yeah.
And it's from what I can tell, there's no pattern to it. It's just you may have a bunk key.
Yep. So don't forget if you need to buy
go buy Windows again is the answer to that. There's nothing you can do about it.
You say that, but I don't advocate piracy. But I gave Microsoft their pound of flesh, and if they screw me around on this, I'll pirate it because I paid money not to deal with this crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there it is.
So, just you either gotta pirate it or buy it again. Because if you get a bunk key, there's nothing you can do to fix it yourself. That's all on Microsoft's end.
Yeah, just remember there's absolutely no reason you need to spend $250 on a key.
Yeah, no.
You can get an OEM key for a lot cheaper, you just have to do it on a clean install. So,
yeah, you can if you can, find a place to sell.
Go to NZ Game Shop. They have a sale on OEM keys like every other week.
Do they? I don't look there for OS software. That's not.
They have their regularly listed price at about $250 for them, but every other week they'll drop it down to maybe about $80.
Probably because they don't.
Because nobody buys them otherwise, I guess. So yeah, we get to see Vaul's adventure with computer rebuilding. Admittedly, though, your computer will be better than mine.
Maybe my graphic cards.
I think your graphics card's a little bit worse, but yeah.
It wasn't exactly top of the line when I bought it 2 years ago, but the reality is that I'm so brutally bottlenecked by my RAM. I don't even know how long I've been recycling this RAM. My goodness. I was like, that is not a large number when I looked in the BIOS.
That's a very small number.
Oh,
yeah. Dear. But, so I'll get round to it. I'll do my rebuild. I'll build everything in the bare bones, get it all working, and then I'll remount the drives one at a time. Hopefully they'll all match back up to the way they're supposed to. I'm pretty sure I haven't installed anything that wasn't Steam games on the boot drive. No, hold on. What I mean is I've only installed on non-boot drive stuff Steam ones, and Steam ones can just be glued back in usually.
Usually.
So, once I've finished cleaning up my old boot drive, I should be set.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm not really fond of the whole process, and it's going to be a lot of spring cleaning to do. It's been a long time since I properly cleaned the inside of my case.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it'll be a case of hauling everything out, scrubbing the entire thing raw, and then sticking the new bits in, and hopefully everything will be nice and clean.
I wish I didn't have to clean my own case so often. It's an open air case, and I live in a dusty desert. I've got to spray it out like once every other week.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm about to do it again. It's all starting to build up. Doesn't take much.
Yep, so hopefully everything will work. Most of my drives are only used to store archives, old stuff anyway. So,
yeah.
I've got terabytes of stuff. Though a lot of those drives are getting on, probably have to replace before Yeah, so that's made me a great deal poorer.
Yeah.
Like, a great poorer.
So
even though it was Cyber Monday, it was still like, I wasn't going to buy crappy stuff. This current rig, the oldest parts in this current rig, although I don't know how old the RAM is, most of the old parts are about 6 years old. So I would like to my next rig to last a decent chunk of time as well. Power creep in components seems to have slowed down considerably the days of yore. We don't see a doubling in power every 18 months anymore like we used to. But yeah, I'd still like to get a good lifespan out of it, and I'll be able to go back to actually playing things on my PC again, which has made Steam sales a bit more interesting than they used to be, because normally everything would be either don't care, have that, or it's not going to run on my computer. And if I upgrade, then it's not going to run on my computer category will be gone. So I'll be able to look at other things, especially things that have sold themselves quite heavily on their visuals, and I am not able to appreciate any of that, so I just don't care to begin with to look into them. One such thing that I ran across is lately I keep running across incidentally in other media footage of Black Desert.
Yes.
Which I had to play with really crappy settings when I tried the beta out.
And it looked awful.
And it looks really, really bad on low settings. Like,
yes.
Apocalyptically bad. You can make it look really good. And it's a shabby Korean grinder MMO in a lot of ways, but it also seems to have a good deal of stuff that you can just sort of mindlessly tool around with. So, given that it's like $7.50 on the Steam sale, I might pick it up and have a poke at that once I've got a computer up and running. Just to fill in some time. It's ultra grindy, so there's no way I'm going to really stick to it. Right. I like having an MMO available to poke around with. I don't really feel like paying a subscription when I can't devote a huge amount to it. So,
although finding up Skyforge might be a good idea at some point too, if we ever feel like being blinded by Bloom.
Skyforge is also on the cards because a lot of the problems I had with Skyforge and not things that could be fixed with an upgrade, because most of my problems came from their launcher just refused to cooperate.
That launcher was horrendously goofy, yes.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what was going
on. It just refused to work at random points for no apparent reason.
Yeah, did I do anything else this week other than catch up on some anime? I don't think I watched anything new.
Aside from Slimy Cat.
We're at an hour and a half, by the way. We're coming up on it, so we should probably take a break and do the anime when we get back.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think that I probably won't have much to do, but yeah, let's go on. Go take a break.
So let's take a break real quick.
All right.
Here's some music, folks, and when we get back, we'll do Vol's Animu, and I'll get to the foreshadowing with Itchy Feet that I was getting at early in the show, because there's a story there. So we'll be right back. And we're back.
Yes, indeedy.
All right. Well, skimming through the list of anime, I don't really think there's any that I have anything pressing to talk about. I haven't had much time to watch much this week so far, so yeah. But it's still not a great season. It's not a great season at all. There's just not much there that's really worth commentary, to be honest. I don't know. I need to get off of Crunchyroll and start looking elsewhere because I think that their selection is just getting garbage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and not to mention that their behavior as a company is getting sort of worse by the day, type of thing. Thankfully, I have not seen any of their attempts to promote High Guardian Spice any further. It is too much to hope that the project has been axed, but
they've gone very quiet on that.
Yeah. I don't know. I keep waiting for the market to speak on this stuff, or at least for the market to have spoken enough times that pumping money into it. But I think it's too ideological for that to happen. Like the whole thing with the She-Ra reboot, that is not a cartoon designed to entertain.
No,
it's
like the original
just designed to make people feel woke.
Yeah,
it's a cartoon designed to be gay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Like they have become the caricature that they have always been accused of being.
Yeah,
like the most paranoid, Bible Belt doomsayer about the gay agenda or whatever. Everything they have said has come true, because including these people adopting the term gay agenda to describe what they are doing.
Yeah, you also can't get mad at all the people that go ha gay at the top of their lungs in the back of the classroom at something if the thing they're ha gaying at is actually entirely gay.
Right. Yeah. This is getting worrying.
Yeah. At any rate, the Crunchyroll's falling down that rabbit hole. And so I've seen a few things here and there. Otherwise, just to me, not necessarily that interested in anything other than being woke anymore. So yeah, I kind of want to get off that service as soon as find an alternative. And it's going to end up coming right back down to me going back to the DVDs and merchandise approach. Mm-hmm. That's going to be what you have to do if you want to support anime at all. I can't see another avenue.
Been unsubbed for a while now, but they still let me watch stuff as though I'm subbed because their registration is terrible.
Their website as a whole is just not very good, from what I've heard.
Yeah, like I'm paranoid about it, so I keep checking to be sure they're not charging me. No, they're not charging me, and this happens every single time where they scare me because I'm like, I still have full access to all my services despite unsubbing months ago.
I'm actually sort of concerned that they'll make it difficult to get unsubbed, because it'll turn out that I'm not actually unsubbed, I just thought I was. But since the site says I'm unsubbed now, I need to go through some rigmarole of trying to convince them that I am still paying subbed.
Yeah,
that's what I'm mainly worried about.
Yeah, if you hit the unsub button, sometimes it doesn't say anything on the website, but you'll stop getting charged and have access to everything. And 1 month, 6 months later, then it'll unsub you. But when it realizes they haven't been getting money from you,
just at some random point in the future.
It's something about the databasing on the back end of their account tracking at Crunchyroll is just broken. This has happened to not just me, but several people.
See, yeah. Well, they are clearly not spending money on anything related to their primary business. That's basically what I'm seeing. Because, their PlayStation app is still a piece of garbage. It's really, really bad.
As far as I know, their Android one is too. I never checked to see if they fixed that 1080p issue, where it was just permanently locked at 1080p.
They did patch the PS3 version of their app recently. I was watching the Karno Kyokai movies on it about a couple months ago, and it actually runs now, but it crashes randomly now.
Oh boy!
So it's got a steady frame rate when you switch between screens sometimes, but it randomly crashes. in the middle of an episode.
Huh.
So...
Yeah, they're just bad at their job. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Good old Crunchyroll.
Anyway, I'll leave my week there and pass it over to Ari.
Ari, your feet. I mean, your week.
Okay, yes. So there's a story here. So Christmas is a thing that happens, and Christmas is a big thing that happens in Southern America. And if you live in a conservative Christian home, you're going to put Christmas lights up.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't see what lights have to do with living in a Christian home.
Like,
we've got plenty of Christians in this country. Almost none of them put up lights.
It is a thing that happens here. You have to, like, put lights up if you live in a conservative Christian home. I don't know why that is the case, but it's a thing you must do. And even though nobody else on our street does, after we moved, we still must. And I was informed that this is not optional. Christmas lights must get up. So I've been outside for the last 2 days in wet shoes, very wet shoes, walking in all kinds of who knows what, getting all kinds of goop and grease junk in my shoes while I'm climbing ladders and having my stomach do turns because I ate too much ham during Thanksgiving. So I could not go to just get some over-the-counter itchy foot medicine on Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, or until today. And today it was pouring down rain. And not just raining a little bit, it was absolutely pouring rain.
What is this rain of which you speak?
Yeah, so I finally go out to the store today, and I cannot find just some over-the-counter itchy foot medicine. There's
actually a thing called itchy foot medicine.
It's just like Lotrimin, just like antifungal, anti-itch stuff for your feet. Anti-poison
you think your
ivy,
feet
all
have
that
fungus?
Stuff. Well, it could be, because there's a lot of animals that go poop everywhere. So sometimes you can get athlete's foot out here really easy. If you get wet feet, then you walk in that crap, even if you have shoes on.
It's literal crap, but yes.
Yes, so you get the antifungal stuff just to be safe. But it's just over-the-counter junk. It shouldn't be that hard to find. Apparently, I was not the only person with this problem, because I had to go to 3 drugstores to find it.
Ugh.
And then on the way back home, I am driving back by the prison on an empty road, and I see a tree slowly bending over. I'm like, that tree is going to fall right in the middle of the road. The tree didn't fall on the road, thankfully, but a big branch just falls off the tree smack in front of my car after I've stopped. So I'm like, okay. So I have to get out and spend like 5 minutes trying to roll this dang huge tree branch off the side of the road and into a ditch.
Fun.
All the traffic is held up on both ends. About 2 other cars wind up behind me on this back end road. Both of them have big, strong men in the driver's seat, and none of them get out to help me. Like, I'm just sitting here trying to move this big honking log, leaving my car abandoned with the hazard lights on, while I'm trying to get this thing out of everybody's way.
Man, in New Zealand, everybody would have gotten out of their car for a bit of a nosy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, no. Staring at me while I'm moving this big, heavy tree branch. I'm like, y'all could get out here and help, you know. I have a strength stat of 10 at most. I don't get any bonuses. Like, and these guys in these cars were not itty-bitty guys. They were twice as big as I was. Like, y'all could help me here.
Yeah, people are asses like that.
Yeah, so I was a little bit miffed today. But managed to get home, get most of the lights up, and they are actually attempting to finish off the lights while I'm doing the show, and it's worrying. If you keep hearing banging upstairs, that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Got the itchy foot medicine, finally. Got the tree branch out of the road and got home. But most of this week has been occupied by cooking for Thanksgiving, putting up Christmas lights, and moving tree branches out of the road and wondering why people won't get out of their dang car and help me. It's not a very exciting story, but we don't have much to talk about this week.
So you're talking about feet and trees?
Yeah.
Right.
Because, yeah, it's been a holiday week, and it's been a holiday week where you're supposed to get together with family and do stuff, so I've been unfortunately involved with the family all week. The only significant thing I did was finish Camelot.
Yep.
And Camelot is back to being a silly place. Deleted the evil Camelot. And, yeah.
Reinstated the silly Camelot.
Yep. Rongo is beat it up. I will use a nickname. Rongo. But yeah. Beat up Rongo. Beat up a bunch of dudes. I wiped 3 times in Camelot. and I've noticed something that was very obnoxious in Camelot. And that is when the Enforcement Knight triangles, there's a mob type in Camelot called Enforcement Knights. And they come in variants of Berserker, but that you don't care about those. You care about Saber, Lancer, and Archer. And several times you will get Saber, Lancer, and Archer all in the same quest. And the first time I wiped was because I brought the wrong class weight to that particular Enforcement Knight encounter. And it was just a regular Enforcement Knights. I brought like 2 Sabers because I saw all 3 were there and just hoped that there would be, an even distribution of archers and, more than 1 Lancer. This was not what happened. There was 1 Saber, 1 Lancer, and the rest of the waves were all archers. And
that's why you've got to pay careful attention to the order of the symbols.
Yes.
They will only mislead you about 2/3 of the time.
So yeah. Got wrecked during that one. I don't remember the other 2 times I wiped, but Herc was the MVP during the Demon Boss filler of that fight, of that singularity. There's a picture somewhere in the live chat of when that happened. And yeah. Camelot was surprisingly good, though. It was a huge step up from what we've been seeing in storytelling in the game so far.
They really pulled out their A game on that one. I don't know what they were doing the rest of the time.
Yeah. I got to see the Arash catapult slingshot thing, and it is just as vaguely described as I imagined it was from the pictures.
Yep.
It makes absolutely no sense, and they lampshade that it makes no sense by just saying, noble phantasms don't follow the laws of physics. Okay.
Come on, they can pull you into a pocket dimension in best case.
It is a little more extreme with this example.
Oh dear.
I'm not going to go into depth to explain why what you described in reality in Marble as is incorrect.
Yes. It serves to paint the right illustration while being completely and utterly inaccurate.
Yeah, the point is this particular example of use of Noble Phantasm is just what is even going on. Mm-hmm. But it's so stupid that it works. So, yeah, Camelot was really good. I can see a lot of people not liking certain parts of it, though. Unless you play Melty Blood and care about the story of the Atlas Institute, you're not going to care about going to visit there for a chapter.
I've never seen anybody who didn't care about Camelot or dislike parts of Camelot. Everybody loves everything about Camelot.
Yeah. Well, it does have a certain character show up in that.
And you don't need to know anything about Melty Blood either.
But
it's absolutely unnecessary. You get more than enough in both versions of Extra, in fact.
Well, yeah, but unless you've seen some of the stuff out of Universe, that bit I could see some people raising some eyebrows at. But other than that, I don't think there's any part of it that's doesn't work.
I think that the subset of people who are Fate fanatics who play FGO who don't know anything about Atlas is basically non-existent. The subset of people you're talking about does not exist. Those people don't exist.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I'm just saying I could see that if they did exist. I don't know the demographics for people and how much they've seen of what in the Fate universe.
Most people playing FGO either don't care about Fate at all or care about everything in Fate.
Yeah, so that is the only part I could even see people having a problem with. And that I still don't think they would have a huge problem with, because the core part of that is the surprise character you were wondering where they were at in London.
Because they should have showed up any second.
Yeah.
It was like the prime opportunity for them to do so.
Yeah.
And they just didn't, for some reason.
Yeah. There's a lot of service for OG Fate Stay Night fans with Cursed Arm Hassan, the backstory. And explaining who he actually was and did what he did.
He's just sort of like a boogeyman in Fate Stay Night. Like, that's really the only role he serves, is the boogeyman.
Yeah, he's quite literally doesn't have all his brains there for most of it, where he has to eat other servants to get his brains back.
Fun.
But yeah, you see him with his brain fully working now, and he just gets an entire backstory in this chapter. So there's a lot of service for OG Fate Stay Night fans. And yeah, there isn't really a whole lot to dislike about the chapter. It was just really well done. Some of the parts with the songs where you're just up in the mountains doing stuff could have been paced a little bit better, but even then, that's nitpicking at best. I don't think it was that bad at any point. it was pretty well done overall.
All right.
So I was really happy with Camelot, and Babylon's supposed to be just as good. So that's
I've heard differing opinions on that, which is encouraging in its own way, because I've heard people saying Babylon is just as good. I've heard people say Babylon is not quite as good, and I've heard people saying Babylon is even better. So at least they are maintaining sort of roughly the same sort of level of writing.
Yeah,
and there's also a certain excitement factor as the story sort of nears a climax, because you can smell it on the wind that things are going to come to a head.
Yeah, so yeah, and it has been very hard to stay spoiler free going through this, but I've
just refused to watch. I refuse to watch any content. Period. Like, I just don't ever.
I've watched some event fights and stuff to see people like soloing silly things, but and I know what servants are in each chapter pretty much, because they're going to show up when you're trying to Google stuff for your own servants. But other than that, I don't know any events that actually happen in the chapters.
The only thing I know about the future are the banners as they appeared in Japan and the dates on them and the servants. Like, yeah. And I've kept it very restrictive, because I can't read Japanese. So all that I have is like pictures of the banners arranged in order. to remain as spoiler free as humanly possible.
Yeah, don't click on anything that has a spoiler tag on the Reddit. Just it's very difficult to dodge spoilers, but
I've put a lot of effort into it. Like I've been doing it very thoroughly. So this is the most spoilery sort of thing that I look at. I put in the line.
Yeah, there was a very conspicuous class in all the wikis that I deliberately don't click on. So, but other than that, I've been going pretty well spoiler-free. And yeah, I hope Babylon turns out to be pretty good, as a lot of people are saying a lot of good things about it, so yeah.
And it's getting a TV series.
It is getting a TV series.
Marvelous.
And there's a lot of explosions and pyramid droppings and various other things that go boom in Camelot.
Yeah.
Like they really turn it up to 11 with just like the scale of things.
Yeah.
Well, it's what, Ozymandias versus Gilgamesh?
No,
it's not.
Gil's in Babylonia. Ozymandias is Camelot.
They don't actually meet each other in the main continent.
No, it's Ozzy versus Rongo.
Ah, right. See, I haven't played.
So you can imagine those two sort of meeting each other in the corridors of Chaldea, and sort of
the arrogance would be overwhelming.
The arrogance off, I guess.
Yes.
Well, Ozzy's more tolerable just because he's kind of like the
Goofy.
Cool douchebag.
Well, he's more like, he's sort of a bit less insecure than Gilgamesh, in the sense that he doesn't feel the need to remind you all of the time that he's superior to you. He just assumes you know.
Yeah,
and acts on with that assumption.
Yeah, at all times he assumes that you're on the same page as he is, because obviously you must be. He's the pharaoh.
Yes.
Yeah. He gets Ozzy steals the show for every scene he's in, all the way up until the finale at the end of the chapter, when him and Nitocris have their last scene together. He's just the best character in every scene he's in for that whole singularity. The Demon God Pillar fight takes place in his vicinity, and his comment after it's over just takes this whole serious situation and completely diffuses it into the funniest thing ever.
Because if you're going through, particularly if you were going through like I was, who just didn't have powerful servants to help them do Demon God Pillars are like the worst thing. The worst thing that can happen to you is having to fight a Demon God.
Yeah, and that particular one is really tough too. If I didn't have Herc, I wouldn't have beat it.
And Ozzy just sort of takes that whole situation and completely diffuses the tension.
It's like, that didn't taste very good. Maybe we don't do that again. So yeah, Camelot is very, very good. I was quite pleased with people being right about how good Camelot was, and I hope Babylon's as good as Camelot was. But yeah, I was really not into the story of this game all the way up until America. There's a lot of just kind of floofy VN filler stuff going on all the way up until America. I mean, Oceanland's fun. There's interesting characters and stuff going on, but it's not something you can really sink your teeth into. London is a setup chapter, which is fine, but we're 4 chapters into the game and we're just now getting a setup chapter. And Murica is fun, and there's a lot of cool stuff going there, but still, in a way, kind of a setup chapter.
Well, I feel like it's basically structured like a shonen series, right? So you've got your big dramatic opening into Fuyuki, and then you settle into Monster of a Week for a while, and then at the end, at the last Monster of a Week is something that is like on a scale far beyond all the stuff you normally dealt with, and shows that there's a bigger picture to deal with, and then you launch into, you know, the Soul Society arc or whatever, and you're suddenly dealing with something which is way higher stakes against an opponent who completely outmatches you along every axis, that it's not even reasonable to try and fight them on their own terms, and so on and so forth. And then you start heading towards the actual climax.
Yeah, it does give a feel of like it went through the same, putting the same feelers out that like Bleach or Yu Yu Hakusho did, where they do the Monster of the Week for a while, and then they start building into the arc structures. But, yeah, once you get into Murica, and especially once you get into Camelot, things start looking up. And I think all the way until, supposedly, Singularity 1 of 1.5, people say is all good all the way through, from Camelot to 1.5.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody complain about any of the story content after Camelot. Like I said, I've been like studiously avoiding commentary on the matter, but in terms of the incidental stuff, I haven't seen anybody complain about it. Mostly people seem to just like everything from Camelot on.
Yeah. So, yeah. And the writing quality in Camelot is such a huge step up from even Murica that just came before it. It's not even funny. Like, you go from a 3-star story all the way up to a 4.5. Like, it is not a small jump. But yeah. Other than that, and silly holiday shenanigans, that's all that really happened. So, I figured I would give the quick review of Camelot as a whole, since I'm now done with it.
Did anybody check the emails?
Yep, there was something there.
No joy there.
Okay. So, let's see what we can find in the news basket.
It's a bit dry this week, isn't it?
Yeah, mostly boobies.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the boobies again.
I didn't say we should talk about the boobies.
Nope.
I'm just saying. Just saying that that's mostly what's there.
About Dead or Alive and their jiggle physics.
It's much Joey Lampshade, and we're going to have to talk about it if y'all keep going.
No, that's not. There is a bit of going on at the moment around Steam because, well, on the good news, they have decided at long freaking last to actually start putting currency or prices in Australian dollars, which is good. But the whole reason they did this is because of a tax in Australia. A tax of which nobody seems to have done their research on, and so they're just claiming that Steam has jacked the prices.
So which tax are we talking here?
This is GST, so it's a straight 10% tax on everything.
Yeah, but, you lucky bastards only have to pay 10%.
Well, that's this dip. Australian government loves to double dip or triple dip on taxes. So you get taxed at one point and then you get taxed for the same thing again later on.
Oh, we have that as well. We have multiple layers of that.
Yeah.
It's the same here. New Zealand's a socialist country, so we get taxed out the wazoo every 5 minutes. Everything is a tax, and you have to pay a tax to go pay your tax.
Yeah. So, it was decided at the start of the year that Australians, in businesses that specialize in online sales overseas need to pay the tax on any transactions on the site by Australians, which to me is pretty fair because there's a whole lot of money just going, but inevitably such a tax means that cost is going to get passed on to the taxpayer, meaning the regular Joe. So that's what's happened here. The other way they've screwed it up, of course, is they didn't warn publishers in advance. So there's a whole bunch of games on Steam which last week were perfectly fine and available to Australians. This week are not. They just don't have a price list in Australian dollars, so you can't buy it.
My brother was complaining about that as well, so I bought him some stuff that he wanted from the game sale, the Steam sale, but was unable to purchase because there's no price in Australian dollars.
Yeah. Did they actually create a loophole in their idiotic region locking as well?
Well, my birthday was this week, so my brother was able to get me a present from Steam. He got me more Nep because I need more Nep.
Everybody needs more Nep in their life.
But the fact that he was able to get me something at all suggests that maybe now that those prices are sort of ordered correctly, there is more overlap, there is more capability to buy from one place to another, because a good amount of the reason that things didn't work between New Zealand and Australia on that count is that New Zealand's prices were out of sync because we were already paying GST. Whereas your prices were all set at US, and since you're paying in foreign currency to a foreign business, you don't pay tax.
Yes, we just had to pay conversion rates to the various banks instead.
Yeah, but the thing is that that conversion rate is not as much as GST. So when you convert New Zealand prices, they never match the Australian prices within the margin. So it was always impossible to buy you anything for Christmas, for instance. But since my brother was actually able to get me something, maybe that means that a lot of those gaps have closed up.
Yeah. We'll see what happens when it comes time to do our various Christmas shopping for friends online.
I will endeavor to get y'all Christmas gifts this year.
Yeah, last week you kind of just gave up in disgust.
Well, the year before that, I think I just gave you all Devil May Cry because it was on a standard flat price for every region.
Devil May Cry 4, I believe.
Yeah. Last year, I don't think I could find anything that would work.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Daikatana work.
You wish it wouldn't.
So, we'll try again this year and see if we can find anything.
Yeah. So, yeah, just a heads up. Don't get angry at Steam for jacking up the prices. Be angry at the Australian government.
Can I be angry at both?
I think it's perfectly legitimate to be angry at both.
All right, be angry at both.
It's the Australian government that is charging you GST, but it's Steam that made a pig's ear of the whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can actually go through. You can go through Steam's news feed in the client, and there is no mention of it whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't know until my brother said that he was trying to buy Zone in the Enders and couldn't.
Yeah. I'd looked a couple of days before it happened, and there was just no...
Yeah, you seemed surprised when I mentioned it.
Yeah, because I'd looked at Steam a couple of days before, and everything was in US dollars still, because I actually thought, I wonder if they've given the option yet. And nope.
I wonder if launching it around the time of the Steam sale allowed them to, like, skim some extra off the top or something.
I don't know, maybe. But when this tax was actually first announced, Amazon threw a fit because at the time they were only just starting to really get into the Australian market. They say, well, if you're going to apply this tax, then we're not going to ship to Australia. So the government was like, yeah, fine, that's fine. We'll just keep our money in our country. So yeah, Amazon actually backed down on that one.
Well, that's the thing. The one of the few things that I unabashedly admire about Australia is the fact that when although it's not always a good idea to just dig your heels in all the time, Australians will dig their heels in even when the person they're going up against is ridiculously bigger than they are. It was the foreign politics of Australia is always entertaining because they don't give a toss what anybody else is doing.
Except when it comes to climate change, in which case they'll immediately tuck tail and kowtow.
Oh well, if you could get rid of Victoria, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that is true.
I hope you're working on that.
We just need to build a giant continent cutter. No,
Victoria is like their California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cranial rectal disorder and all.
Just get a giant handsaw and get like 10 people, just push it up and down until you saw it off the continent. And then push it off.
Hey, it worked for Tasmania. Nobody cares about Tasmania. Actually, I'd like to go to Tasmania because, first of all, it's cold down there, and it's also very pretty.
The only thing I know about
don't they? Aren't they like your is like your hillbilly state, though.
That's
like,
the
don't they have a? Isn't there a gag about that?
The inbreeding, yes.
There's a Looney Tunes character that spins around in a circle.
Taz is awesome. Don't knock Taz.
That is the only thing I know about Tasmania.
The fact that he's got absolutely nothing to do with an actual Tasmanian devil is irrelevant. Except the the psychotic aggression. He's got that.
Yeah, Tasmanian devils will bite pretty much any.
They put a honey badger to shame.
With very little provocation.
They're almost as bad as cassowaries.
Oh dear.
Stupid.
Why do you live in a country full of dangerous things?
We've only got lots and lots of spiders and angry tear your ankle off little mammals and, giant demon birds.
You're about to say, you have velociraptors, dude. Why are you living with velociraptors?
They are literal velociraptors, yes.
At least we only have emus, and they're imported.
Yeah, why do you have emus?
I don't know. There's an emu farm like 3 houses down.
I guess that's the thing then.
It is a thing. I don't think they're common, but there is one.
I think I saw that there was amongst the things that we test at work, there's various different types of meat. So, be a checkbox for like porcine and bovine and bobby calf and ovine, caprine, all of the usual meats. Mm-hmm. And then there's like emu.
It's just emu?
Yeah.
They didn't bother to give it a proper name?
Emu.
Right.
I didn't even know people ate them.
Yeah, they do.
Everything about emus is hilarious.
They're giant, They're ugly, they're goofy looking, they lay giant black eggs.
Just everything about those dumb birds is hilarious. Every time I drive by them, I start laughing at them. Because they're always doing something stupid. I've seen them with their head caught in the fence before and not able to get out.
All of those like not poisonous Australian wildlife always make me think of that. There's a children's story called Wombat Stew.
Yes.
Do you know that one?
I do know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's kind of a dick to this.
It's very Australian.
Yeah. So, lesson learned from that story. Don't be a dick to Wombat, because he will be a dick but right back to you.
As will virtually every kind of Australian wildlife.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
What else? What else we got? What have we got to talk about?
We got Origin being dumb, just because I like beating up on Origin.
Yeah, let's beat on Origin. We haven't done that in a while. Go for it.
So, there's been a bug in the Origin client for a while now with when it gives you a automatically generated URL to log into your account in your browser. For some reason, it doesn't do this via your cookies or any other kind of semi-secure way. It just embeds the actual data in the URL itself. So anybody can steal this information if you're logged onto a network that has public access on it. And yeah, just another reason to laugh at EA, because this is very standard stuff. You don't do that. Because people, if you log in like a Starbucks or something, people are sitting there waiting to steal your information. That's just how this works. That's the way the world works. But for some reason, Origin's just like, yeah, we don't need to make your account information secure.
Yeah.
No. Just
like Bethesda then.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been actually a lot of that lately. And regretful as I am to say it, including a furry porn game.
Oh my goodness, I've been trying to avoid thinking about that.
Yeah.
I saw that and just like, nope.
It's like, I don't want to know how many people that I deal with on a daily basis or in my government or whatever are actually furries. No. I want to remain completely ignorant.
I don't care if there's a list of 400,000 people on there. I don't care who they are. I don't want to know who they are. They can stay in the garbage bin.
So, yeah, there's been a whole lot of sites being compromised. I actually had my Bethesda account compromised the other day.
Yeah.
Of course, that
having a Bethesda account is being compromised.
Well, I only have one because I wanted to derp around with the Fallout 4 editor at one point.
Yeah.
There's just, oh goodness.
Yes.
No security for Kim bit him in the nads.
Anybody could have told them this was going to happen. You release a game on your own proprietary client, everyone's going to want to hack it.
Yeah, especially if you write the data for that person's personal information into a text file.
Yes. just why? Why?
Yeah. You don't even need to be a CS major to know why this stuff is a bad idea, folks. Come on.
Oh, boy.
Like, EA and Bethesda and all these companies that just don't care about your security. It blows my mind they're even allowed to get away with this stuff even once before people jump ship completely.
I don't know. A lot of them, if you jump ship every time they get hacked, you'd have nowhere to go.
Well, this isn't even getting hacked. This is just them literally putting your information out there publicly for people to see.
Yeah, there's that too.
There isn't a whole lot of hacking involved in just staring at what the URL's embedded subscript is.
I would have thought that people would have got wise to this sort of stuff by now, like, because there was a huge debacle when Sony got hacked and it had found out they'd been storing stuff as plain. Like, just encrypt. Learn to encrypt.
It ain't hard.
Like, it's not an interesting press release if you say, "Oh, we got hacked, but everything's encrypted, so they won't be able to do anything with it anyway." Like, nobody ever makes that announcement. Why? Why don't you ever have venue to make that announcement?
Why is it always stored in like sub metadata in a URL link or like plain text? These are the two worst things you can store that kind of data in.
You can afford encryption if you're one of these companies.
You can make encryption in an afternoon and stick an intern on it, and he'll probably do an okay job.
It doesn't even need to be very strong encryption, because most of these people that steal this information really don't care. Like, they don't want to get particular data. They aren't going to, put their Bitcoin mining device to work for a month on it to make sure that they can crack all of the expired credit card numbers or whatever. The whole point is to make of these hacks is to make the company that is the victim look bad. So stop looking bad. Good grief, it's not complicated.
Just get your intern to write an encryption program. He's probably just making you coffee anyway.
If that.
Anyway, another news article. What have we found? Not talking about some of this other stuff.
That's literally all I had. There was nothing that happened this week.
I've been seeing a bunch of stuff about Blizzard that has been trailing on since the disastrous announcement of Diablo Immortal.
They seem to be having some interesting problems over there.
Their PR is in the toilet right now. It really is.
It really is.
First of all, they've had a succession now of ex-employees coming out and pretty much denouncing them as at best out of touch and at worst virtually criminal. And it's that you really don't want to be in that position, if you ask me. It seems like a bad place to be. And there's also been a lot of stuff about their practices. Apparently there've been big pay cuts have gone through. Lots and lots of people have lost money. On the upside of that one, supposedly it is mostly the old money that has lost money. And old money in games industry terms means people who were part of the company at the peak of their rockstar phase and haven't made anything in years since then. So a lot of those people had all their bonuses slashed, and a word from rumor is that most of them are leaving quiet. These are the people who were they were big names at Blizzard during, say, the Warcraft 3 era and haven't done a damn thing since. And have just been sort of on the payroll doing little jobs here and there to justify their continued existence. But because early in a company like Blizzard's life cycle, there's lots of profit sharing type agreements and big bonuses and that sort of thing based on successive games. and Blizzard had, you know, smash hit after smash hit after smash hit, like they were untouchable.
Yep.
So they made a lot of people personally very wealthy, and those people just sort of hung around. But those ones are going now. On the upside, they're going, and they should go because they are just a burden on the company. On the downside, that sort of pruning usually happens before you're going to absorb the entity into a greater, more normalized corporate structure named Activision. So, yeah, that could go either way. But apparently the bonus system has been overhauled throughout. And the way that it worked, Blizzard, is that a lot of your salary was backloaded into bonuses, and you were paid as wage well below industry rate and would make up the difference in bonuses. And they're sort of slashing the bonuses now. And apparently they have some incredibly bad conditions for a lot of their workers. Like the low-level workers, some of them are actually homeless.
Fun.
They can't afford to rent a place on the pay that they get at Blizzard. They live in their van, and basically they are trading on working for Blizzard being a dream job to keep people applying and keep their sort of lower ranks staff. It's like, oh, well, you know, working at Blizzard is a golden ticket in the industry, etc., etc. Because the name still has a lot of cachet. It's valuable there. But it seems they've got sort of a rotating door going on in their lower echelons where people will work for Blizzard for a while, but they'll leave because they simply can't live with any kind of dignity so long as they're working at Blizzard because they don't get paid enough. So, yeah, it sounds like the morale is really, really low because the only thing that keeps you going if you are in that position is the Blizzard Legend. And the Blizzard Legend has now been displaced by Diablo Immortal.
Yeah, it was shaky before that, but the Diablo Immortal really just pushed it over.
Yeah, because what Diablo Immortal says is we are a shareholder-facing company, not a gamer-facing company. So, yeah, your dream is dead. That's basically what they're saying. So, yeah, things are not really looking good for them. There's a lot of unrest. It's very clear to the people at Blizzard that Battle for Azeroth didn't do what they dreamed, and that should have been an obvious outcome. And like always, they were told how things would go during battle, and things went exactly how people said. And this was a great surprise. Always
is.
Yeah. So the internally, based on the sources that I've seen leaking, I don't know if you even really call it leaking. Morale is down overall throughout the company, but especially at the lower levels. Heroes of the Storm is viewed as an abject failure, and the only reason it continues is because allowing it to fail outright would be really terrible PR. Overwatch is regarded as sort of like a semi-profitable sideline at best. It's not regarded as a success nor a failure. What it seems that what the bean counters were hoping was that it would do what Fortnite did for Epic. Is it Epic?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Epic was sort of like they were tickling Oblivion, and then the Battle Royale mode was implemented into Fortnite, and they became an $8 billion company in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Fortnite story, and it sounds like that was the plan with Overwatch, and didn't pan out. And now the shareholder-facing decision makers in that company are, they're flirting with that world where Hearthstone is a huge earner for no outlay to speak of, and mobile games are the way you churn out even more money with no capital outlay to speak of, just recycling assets as a skin over an existing game. And yeah, so basically the summary version of that is Blizzard is dead. The Blizzard that once existed does not exist anymore. It's gone. Kaput.
Yeah.
There's no going back. There's no going back. Not anymore.
Yeah, they went the way of Rare. Got eaten by a bigger company.
Nom, 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 nom.
Well, the thing is, I think that would be sort of like that. You can go to Valhalla for that, but you can't go to Valhalla for what Blizzard did, because Blizzard choked on their own success. Basically, they had smash it after smash it after smash it, and they got used to being able to do no wrong. But the Rockstar phase never lasts forever, and their feet of clay were exposed, and they started to have things that didn't go as well as they expected. Heroes of the Storm was a turning point. Blizzard produced a product that failed at market outright. Just no. Nobody wants the product. Nobody's interested in the product. Before they could get away with like cancel Titan, they cancelled Warcraft Adventures, they cancelled that StarCraft Ghost game.
Mm-hmm.
They and that if anything played into the legend, because it was them saying, "Oh well, this doesn't really meet our standards. We don't really bring it in its current state. We don't think it will save the project." My personal theory on Diablo 4 is that it met that fate. There's definitely going to be a Diablo 4 in the way things are currently heading, but my theory is that the Diablo 4 that existed internally got StarCraft ghosted, got Titan, got cancelled. And that's the reason they didn't show anything, because they have now, having gone back to the drawing board, have absolutely no idea what will be under the title Diablo, or if they will even use that. So that's my personal theory on what happened with that, which is why they had such a conspicuous lack of Diablo 4 at BlizzCon, and they used the excuse that, oh well, the things are going to change a lot from where they are now to where it's going to be at release, so they don't want to show anything just yet. Nobody would have a problem with, no matter how simple it was that they showed off, provided that they knew that it existed, which is why Bethesda got away with that complete crap with the Elder Scrolls preview.
Yeah, I was about to say, they could have pulled a Bethesda and just put the title screen for Elder Scrolls 6 up, and that would have been fine if they'd done that for Diablo 4.
I think that I don't think that they were ready for that. I think that they were a little bit too high on their own fumes, and they thought that they could just roll with what they had.
High on something.
But yeah. So as far as I can tell, Blizzard is hurtling so fast down the drain that there's no way to pull it out of the death. It'll be interesting to see what impact, if any, World of Warcraft Classic has on this, because it's from an older era of Blizzard, and they're bringing the same thing with Warcraft 3 to some extent. It's an older era, and in both cases, to some extent, they are also older genres, because they don't really make RTSs that way anymore. They don't make MMOs that way anymore. They are a relic of a bygone era.
It'll be interesting to see if they start shooting themselves in the foot with those two projects as well, and just sabotaging them without realizing that they're sabotaging them.
Yeah, I think it's very, very possible that it could happen, but based on the way the rest of the things are going, the reorganization at the upper echelons, like they got rid of, well, Max Pardo left because he screwed up the Titan project, and they've lost Morheim, they've lost Metzen, they've lost all of the visionaries for the company, the ones that set the direction historically. They're all gone now. There are very few left. Other ones have resigned, and the other people of influence in Blizzard have resigned in the wake of this Diablo Immortal debacle. It's been kept relatively quiet, but the rumor is that there are a number of players who have resigned over it. Whether of their own accord or because somebody needs to take the hit for the PR fallout, I don't know. But yeah, basically things are really, really looking bad for Blizzard right now. And the fuse for it all was that Diablo Immortal announcement, ultimately. It's not the reason why the boil was there, but it did lance the boil and spill it everywhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty grim. It looks pretty grim for them.
Yep. It's basically everybody that you would see in like the behind-the-scenes interviews on your Burning Crusade Collection Edition DVD disc ain't there no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that Blizzard's not there because they all gone. I wonder how strict the NDAs are if they miss something in their NDA agreements where somebody can get a lawsuit in at some point and expose a whole lot of stuff about Blizzard. It probably won't happen, but it would be really funny if it did, just to see what's actually going on in there.
I think that it's going to crumble to a certain point where Activision will strike and just absorb them.
Yeah,
they will just become a department of Activision, and they will follow all the Activision policies.
Well, we've already seen them
very much
pretty deep with the launcher having Destiny 2 on it.
Yeah, it looks very much to me like they are just basically waiting for the opportunity where the people who have worked from within Blizzard to keep Blizzard independent will no longer be able to defend themselves the way they have been, because Blizzard will have made enough mistakes.
Yeah,
will have shown their incompetence enough times that they can be brought under the greater structure.
Aren't you glad you cut ties with Blizzard before this X-Pack?
Oh, I don't think it's got anything to do with that. Like the expansions have been going on a negative vector for a while, based on what I like. Like as I've said, as many people have said, after the first 3 expansion packs, everything was down, like strictly downhill.
Yeah.
There plenty of quality of life stuff has happened since then, and there've certainly been spectacular and enjoyable parts of the game, but the overall philosophy was ailing from that point onward. They didn't want the same thing they used to.
Yeah, I think you can cite the clear straight drop down as the first patch of Kata, and didn't pull up from there.
I think a lot of people got whiplash in Kata.
Yeah.
Like, number one, people didn't like the way the world was changing because people hate change. Number two, all of the casuals from Wrath of the Lich King weren't able to cope with the massively higher difficulty of early Kata, and then all of the people who liked the massively high difficulty of early Kata got whiplash when they nerfed everything. So that was where you could see that with every step they were acting to make friends and not to try and make friends and not to make the game better.
Yeah, you can see a lot of rockiness at the start of Kata, and at 4.1 specifically is where I can see nothing but a downhill slope for a while. From that point onwards, there's nothing good to pull it out the death spiral at that point.
Yeah, sometimes you can slow it down a bit. Yeah, the whole concept is ailing, and they've kept it going a long time quite successfully, and they have done the right things at times to perpetuate it. But ultimately, that philosophy has a shelf life. You can't keep just trying to keep people returning indefinitely without really working out what it is that they want and understanding them. Like they are always going for the cheap understanding as opposed to the deeper level understanding. Like the understanding extends to the level of the gacha game fundamentally. Like you can addict people. They don't make people love you. They just make them addicted.
I think a lot of old guard WoW players at this point would just settle for Blizzard actually listening to them.
For some reason, I think of Monster Hunter International and the orcs and the helicopter sacrificing chickens to the rotor gods of the helicopter. They've run out of chickens to sacrifice to the rotor gods of the helicopter to stop it from crashing.
Rotor Spirit's happy.
This is all I can think of when I think about the best part. It's a very direct metaphor.
Probably the best scene out of that whole book.
There is no more chickens Blizzard can throw to the rotor gods to keep them happy.
Yeah.
Oh no. Anyway, what else we got?
That's all I got.
Have either of you seen the footage of any footage of Arch-Tempered Xeno'jiiva?
No.
What a fight, man! They've really picked up their game on that one.
The first fight,
most of the Arch-Tempereds are very barely different. The new Xeno'jiiva, like, it has new behaviors, it has new attacks, everything is a surprise. The fight has to be done totally differently.
Mm-hmm.
You mean you don't have to run up and hop up just to barely clip its tail 30 times to get rid of it, so it's not there during phase 2?
And there's no phase 1.
Yeah, okay.
You have to start the fight immediately, and Xeno'jiiva goes about wrecking anything that allows you to get height on him early on in the fight.
So you can't run up those rock formations anymore.
Well, they're there, but Xeno'jiiva does his best to wreck them as soon as possible.
Fun.
Yeah. And that fight gets exponentially harder, even on normal mode, if you can't get rid of his tail at the start of phase 2.
Yeah, he's got like all new maneuvers and attacks and things. He drops way less pods. He can do these like triple ring explosions. He can fire explosions in a line. He's got all his usual lasers. He can do sort of like a spinny, roundy laser thing as he takes off into the air. Like he can go from laser to flying, and he's got all these new sorts of things. Like he's more different from regular Xeno'jiiva than Azure Rathalos is from Rathalos.
Yeah,
like it's basically a subspecies fight. It's like it's got a feeling like a slightly growed up Xeno'jiiva as opposed to the newborn Xeno'jiiva who basically falls over all the time.
The one who gets his claws stuck in the ground and you have to wait for him to sink.
Yeah. So this is like the slightly more awake and matured Xeno'jiiva.
Not one that just ripped off the ceiling.
Props to them for having actually done something with that fight rather than just increasing the damage and health.
I actually spoke to someone about Monster Hunter the other day, and they were saying, "Hey, have you played Monster Hunter recently? They've added a whole new fight." Because what? The Arch-Champion Xeno'jiiva? No, Kulve Taroth. Because
Oh, PC is behind, ain't it?
Dirty as it sounds, PC scrub.
I liked Kulve Taroth, but I don't know if I'd like him as much done properly.
We two-man that boss. The only reason we killed that boss is because we lucked out with the amount of times I could spam the demon move, and he just didn't hit me. I literally could stick on him the entire fight.
I felt like that was a more fun way to do it. Because we were always, like, perpetually on the verge of getting crushed by that monster. It was balls to the wall all the time.
The fire resist did not matter in that fight. He still had one attack that one-shot me.
Yeah, the goggles do nothing.
It wasn't even a hard-hitting looking attack. It was like something he did with his back foot. If he just hit you with it, it didn't look like it hit that hard, but it would one-shot you.
Good game. I hope it wins an award.
Yeah.
It won't.
We've got the Game Awards coming up, and we've all trawled through the nominations. There's a whole lot of esports stuff, and there's a whole lot of mislabeled categories again.
All right, well, okay. In that vein, then, what have you guys put down for your Steam Awards?
I haven't, actually, because the Steam Awards are an absolute joke.
I know, but you've got to pick something, because otherwise you won't get the badge, right?
Oh, because badges. I don't know. Game of the Year is probably going to end up being Undertale again or something.
I don't get it, but
there's absolutely no restrictions on what you can actually nominate in any of those categories.
Yeah, even if it's completely inappropriate because it's not for that year or whatever.
And you saw that.
I put Monster Hunter for that one.
I should probably put Monster Hunter for that one. But you saw that last year is games winning Game of the Year and things like that were released 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah,
I usually put Titan Quest for Labour of Love because I'm freshly astonished that there are people still developing for it every time I see it.
Just I feel the need to put Hollow Knight in for just the amount of quality, for the amount of people that worked on that project.
And for the price.
Quality per price per hour of work done on the game.
I put for best alternate history, I put Fate Extella.
I haven't even. This is the first time I've booted up Steam in months. Well, maybe not months. I think I might have booted it up when I restarted my computer a few times, but oh my goodness. What even is there?
You gotta wait for all the updates now. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, we should close out the show then.
We probably should.
Alright. So yeah, this was a filler episode, folks. Next week we'll
as if it wasn't obvious.
Yeah.
Next week we should have the Game Awards to make fun of at the very least. We will try to not repeat ourselves ad nauseum by saying that the games don't fit the category.
Well, we can't help it if they can't do their job properly.
We will make a blanket statement probably that just says this applies to everything. and try not to repeat ourselves with it. No promises.
Alright.
So, hopefully we have some more stuff next week. Closing comments go, I guess.
Alright. Kelgar Iron Fist. Best dwarf. Also, best solution to everything. If you have a problem, punch it.
Go for the eyes, boo. Go for the eyes.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Oh, Minsk.
Minsk. I'm sad because his latest iteration is a freaking idol clicker. I'm not kidding either. Yeah, there is Idol Heroes of the Forgotten Realms, and Minsk is in there as paid DLC.
Wait. People pay money for DLC for an idle game.
Yes. That's Idle, I-D-L-E, not I-D-O-L, by the way.
Stop the world, I want to get off.
Mind you, Minsk
yeah.
in a Japanese-style idol game would be hilarious.
That would be incredible.
That would be awesome. Let's make that happen.
I would pay for Boo DLC in Idaru's.
Just DLC to add Boo to any game you want. Done.
Yeah. I would pay for Boo in Idaru's.
Hey, Boo is in Mass Effect. Sort of.
There's lots of... Well, Minsk is kind of like this hidden gem of the old people like us. That everybody knows Minsk and Boo. So he's going to pop up if somebody on the dev team is as old as us and actually liked RPGs. Somebody's going to sneak a Minsk reference in.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a Minsk reference even in WoW. Somewhere. At some point, there probably was.
Someone mentions miniature giant space hamsters.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to forget Minsk and Boo if you played Baldur's Gate when it came out. He kind of makes an impact.
Such a good, dumb character.
Don't go back and play Baldur's Gate, by the way. You're going to hate yourself.
Go back and play the remaster. It hasn't aged well mechanically because it's what, D&D 2?
It's 3 vanilla, I think, as well. Like Neverwinter Nights 1.
Yes.
Yeah, before. Don't play
without
3.
The homebrew that Neverwinter Nights had.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it has not aged well.
No.
But Minsk did make an impact when he first came out. So people that were old and played it when it came out, they remember who Minsk and Boo were.
Yep. Also, I've learned something playing this game while on stream, and that is the AoE sleep spell that shamans get, and I believe druids also get, is overpowered as all get out. Because once they're asleep, you can coup de grace them.
Yeah, most coup de grace setups are, in 3.5 especially.
Yeah, I've never
That's why you don't metagame, unless it's a video game.
Yeah, sleep, coup de grace. Anyway.
We should wrap up. So that's closing comments. Email topic of the week is Game Awards are coming up. You have anything specific you want us to make fun of, you can tell us in the emails. And I think we're done, folks. I need to make sure people didn't hurt themselves upstairs.
Oh dear.
So yeah, I heard, if you've heard banging, it is people trying to do stuff that I was doing before I came down to do the show. So I need to go be sure that people aren't hurting themselves. And I will be right back after that. But yep, I think we're done, folks.
Alright,
y'all got anything else? Alright. If y'all got anything else, we'll see you next week. Sayonara, bye-bye.